joining up last minute. I know it's been kind of crazy this month, but look, we got a great turnout, right? So
Thanks, Jessica, for the beer and the cheese.
I know, and
that's why.
Amazing at this point. We've been doing this now for how long? Several years.
6 months.
6 months. But I honestly think that we have the most committed crew, right, in all of South Florida from IXDA. You guys are always very supportive, right, and I think there's always great value in some of these talks that we put together. So obviously, also thank you to our hosts, Ironhack. Big ups for Ironhack. I think they were able to kind of help us out last minute, get everything together. So definitely glad to be here. And tonight we have an amazing speaker, as you guys know. But we also have a lot of content. I personally have been dying to get into all this stuff. How many of you guys have actually used Invision Studio? We got one person. Okay. So I think definitely going to be a lot of value we're going to be kind of going through tonight. And so just to kind of help promote and spread the love, make sure you guys hashtag or look at some of the stuff that we have right now on IXDA_Miami. So make sure you promote some of the stuff that we're doing. And really kind of looking at this, some of you guys are new. How many of you guys are new, by the way? Any new ones? So we got 2 people new. Okay, so I'm going to do this spiel for the 2 people. So really, the Interaction Design Association, it's really this whole combination. It was started in 2003. It's grown to a global network of over 100,000 individuals, over 200 local groups. All that to say that this is not just a siloed organization. This is something that's part of the broader context, right? So we're really excited to be a part of it. Marcelo and I were both sort of the co-chairs here in South Florida. But really, what is IXDA, right? So Interaction Design Association. It's all encompassing around UX, UI. There's all these different elements. But it's really anything that brings together interaction and humans, right? So all the stuff that we can go through this process of really understanding what creates the right type of interactions, the right process.
And it's all free. It's all volunteer-based.
Exactly, right? And so this is obviously a volunteer organization, so none of us get paid for any of this stuff, right? We do it because we love it. We do it because I think it's important that as the local ecosystem grows here in South Florida, we have all these elements to really kind of draw upon, both from talent, from different resources. So that's really a lot of the work that Marcelo and I, along with some of the other peers that we work with in terms of our work. So really everything is around a volunteer framework. So if you want to host events, if you want to speak, right? If you want to organize or help organize, if you want to promote, or if you want to sponsor any of it, we're definitely open to it. Come talk to Marcelo or myself at the end of the talk. And obviously, I don't think Jessica here. I think she's here. But anyway, so we just give a big round of applause to Ironhack for actually And with that said, we're excited to get started. I'll let you kind of do some of the intros on Invision Studio and how things work. But with that, let's give a warm welcome to Marcelo.
All right, so how we're going to do this. So actually, we're sharing this with Kat. She's remote and watching. Just say,
hey,
hey, Kat. Hey, Kat. All right, so basically,
Marcelo, for the meetup, is there a way you can just share it with anyone else?
Am I going to share?
Is there a way you can just share the link with anyone else?
I already shared on Fluxia.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, on the events channel. All right, so who's here have worked with SketchUp? Everyone? Who hasn't? You don't know Sketch?
I know of it, I just haven't used it.
Okay, what do you use? What do you do first?
I have a graphic design background.
Okay. Illustrator, Photoshop, all that?
Yeah, and a little bit of motion design as well as a little bit of UX UI, but not enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What about you?
I work as a software developer.
Okay, you're a developer.
Yes.
Okay, good. Are you a front-end developer?
Back-end as well.
Back-end as well. Okay, good. All right, so basically what Invision, have you guys heard of Invision prototyping? Right? So what Invision did is they created an interface designing tool. Right? So this is mostly competing with Sketch. And if you came here thinking that Invision is ready for prime time, I would say it's about 80%. Right? So it's not a tool that you can jump onto and completely replace your favorite interface design tool. So I'm going to take you through this. I know I'm not sure if you can see any of this. You can probably turn the lights off.
Yeah.
Oh. Think I can do anything? There's a lighting. That's better, right?
Is that the demo or?
Now you're seeing a sketch.
There we go.
All right. So basically, I'm going to take you through this, and the way we're going to do this, I prepare a file that explains everything step by step. All right. So we're going to go through this file, and then I can share this file. So any questions to begin with? Do you guys have any questions about Invision Studio?
Where did you share the file? I'm sorry. I'm trying to look at the Flux.jl channel in Slack, but I see that you actually shared the link for the Mena, but I don't see the link for the file.
Okay, I can share the file
Yes.
right now.
Thanks.
Yeah, mine shows it flat, like I was just wondering if
That's fine. I'll
Okay,
show how to do.
yeah, I was wondering how you set up that.
Okay, go to View, and then Theme, and then do Light. The other thing I wanted to touch on here. So if you go to View, Theme, you can change from dark to light.
Okay.
Okay? Actually, I like the light better, it has better contrast. Let me share this file with you guys first. And the other thing I should ask is, did everyone download it? If you want to follow this, I encourage you to download Invision Studio for the desktop, and also download Invision app on your iOS. And I think they already have an Android version.
Okay.
They do. Oh, yeah.
They do, right?
Yeah.
Ah.
Oh, wow.
All right. So,
So
and
does
this
everybody
is,
not have Invision Studio installed? We kind of work with you guys on. Everyone has Invision Studio installed at their computer?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
so this is a good thing about Invision. They're gaining a lot of momentum. They have a lot of money and resources to spare. So they are creating a Windows version of Invision Studio, right? And so the good thing about the way I see this whole thing heading to is that you're going to have one tool that can do interface designing and high fidelity prototyping, like with micro interactions. So that's the main difference between Invision Studio and Sketch at this point. So you will see that Invision can do a lot of very smooth animations. Right? The rendering on the phone is not that good yet, but you know you see that on the desktop is pretty good. Okay, so let me share this file. Bless you.
Are you sharing it on the events?
I'm gonna share. I'm just gonna dump the file down.
What channel on Flux.jl?
I don't know. I'm gonna create an Invision Studio
I think we just
channel.
put it.
right now.
I think we just.
Let's do that.
All right.
Do like
I would say put
a
it in-
studio and pizza.
Put it in events.
Yeah.
Put it in events. That way anyone who didn't come will get it.
Event? Okay. I have some music going.
Just share it also with the.
Yes, so you should be able to download this file. I share on events channel of the Flux.jl Slack team space. Alright, so basically, let's take a look at the UI first. So it is just like Sketch. you have different ways to, and this has been updated already. So you have different ways to create objects. I think
It's asking me if I should link there automatically.
what's that?
It's asking if we should link there automatically.
Sure, yeah.
Right now.
All right, so if you guys have any questions, just write it down, and I'll save some time to answer any questions. Okay?
Is that one of the things that's supposed to appear when we click on the link? The toolbar?
Well, yeah.
No, I've got four screens, but none of them say the toolbar. I just clicked on the link and sent over.
Yeah, if you do command 1, you see all the pages. All right. So I'm gonna start working with this file. So bear with me because I'm gonna take you through from 0 to 100 on Invision. Okay. Try to catch up. So on the toolbar here, we have the zoom, and just like the zooming is basically just like any other tool. The two main key shortcuts that I use on zooming, it's command 1 to view everything. I can show you here. Command 1 and command 2 to view the selected, just the selected object. Okay. Just like in Sketch, on the right panel, on the left panel, you have pages on the top and layers on the bottom. You can also filter the layers by domain, and I'll go through that in detail. On the top, you have the plus sign, which holds all your object tools, like to draw, rectangle, oval, text box. The zoom, got some selection tools there for when you have a object selected. On the right top here, you have some collaboration actions like push to Invision prototyping, share on freehand, mirror on your phone, and finally on the right panel you have the inspector panel. Whatever you select, you can change and update. This is exactly like Sketch, right? All right, so let's get our hands dirty now. So there are a couple of different layer types. So you have over here a shape. So you can see when I select this object, it shows the layer, and it also shows all the properties for this object, right? I can say that this object has this fill and has a border that's kind of a 50% transparent. Has where's the radius? So the shape is just like that. So it's just like, oh, there you go. So you got the radius here, 0, and you can change to. I'm going to take you through each one of the properties. Just give you like a quick overview. This is a text layer. So the layers, they are distinct by the type of object. So if the text object has a T, the shape has a square, a group has a folder, a container has kind of a corner square. Component is more of an interactive component. If you guys are a developer, you understand that as a web component. So it's more like that, so you can nest components. And I'll take you through some examples as well. Right. So let's go through each one of this. So I already went through this, but on the right panel, on the top left, you have the tools, and you can create an artboard. This is where you select if you want to create a page, if you want to create a mobile canvas, if you want to create a desktop canvas. And here are the shortcuts as well. This is by, I think, the single keystroke that I use my entire day. I'm always clicking R to draw a rectangle. Anything I want to draw, I use a rectangle, and then I can work that shape. Path, rounded oval path. I don't use that much, so you can draw pretty much anything on the interface. You can use just a rectangle. Obviously, the text and image, right? Even with the image, you can actually you paste an image onto a rectangle. So, if you really want to become very agile using these tools, 3 keystrokes you need to remember: R for rectangle, T for text, and A for artboard. So I'll show you one right here. This is
You're saying this for Invision or Sketch as well?
for sketch. It's the same keystroke,
Yeah.
right? Hadid, did you get your answer? Okay, cool. Thanks. All right. So over here on the top, you got the action. I'm not sure if oh, there you go. So add interaction. This is the tool that you actually use to prototype, so to create some event, add some event handlers to act or change to another page. This one over here, the hexagon there, it almost looks like the Ironhack logo. So that's to create a component, and also we're going to go through that. And some of these path tools, if you're familiar with Illustrator, these are just like Pathfinder. So also we're going to take you through that. I have no idea what this is. Oh, rotate. That was a refresh button. And here we got some tools like collaborate live with freehand. This is really good if you want to share your work remotely with another designer, or with a product manager, with whoever. You just you click over here and they will see your canvas and you can discuss. This is a preview for the prototype that you built. This is to mirror a device. By the way, if you already have actually let me just copy this. If you already have the Invision app installed on your phones, I'm going to post this. Post here big, and you can take a picture. Did you scan it?
Trying the same.
Let me make it bigger.
Yeah.
So when you open the Invision mobile app, you see a square button on the bottom. That's the scanner. Did you guys have a chance to do that? Let me know if you got to see my artboard. I think we need to be on the same network.
Yeah,
just
I
so
don't
you
know which
understand.
Wi-Fi are you on? Building
Yeah.
Co or?
I'm on building.
Let me put the password over here so we can see it. So that's building. Where's
Yeah,
the?
it's saying fail to load. Make sure you're on the same Wi-Fi network. And
Okay, so
But I'm
should I
on-
go to the?
building.
No, I'm on Building Co, so I don't know why it's telling me that. I'm on the same one as you, supposedly.
Okay.
Weird.
Do it.
Yeah, I'm having the same error. So there might be like the port on the router might be closed. So it's probably why. Alright, so sorry about that one. And obviously you can export this to publish on the Invision prototyping. And this is the app store that they're going to be launching soon. I'll talk about that later on. And there's some more options here. What's new, Learn Studio, so you can also, this is really good actually if you want to learn about Studio. They have a very nice collection of videos that you can go through and really think that I didn't teach you anything. So, all right, on the inspector side, when you select an object, right, you have the coordinates for this object. You have the width and height. You can rotate. You can flip the object. You also can constrain this. I'll go more into detail once we start combining grouping objects, because this is really helpful to build responsive design components. So I'll go into detail on that one. You have blending mode, so this is how you create some visual effects to the fill of the object. Obviously opacity, fields, you can add multiple fields. I have a quick exercise that I'm going to take you through that. Borders, shadows, and so forth. So this is essentially just to show you that when you select an object, you see all the properties. Right, I'm going to shift gears here, just a little bit. For text, the same way, when you select the text, you have different properties here, right? And the good thing about these new tools, they are all follow the web standards. So you can essentially, I'm not sure about in Studio, but in Sketch you can just right click and copy the CSS styles and paste into your code, right? So this is how they've been building the tools nowadays, and it really helps. So on the left panel, as I mentioned before, you have the pages sections here, right? And then you have the layers. So you can select different pages. And on the top here, you have the layers, and then you have your components. So I really like the way they did this, because it's very intuitive, and you can see all your components at once. Not like in Sketch that you need to navigate through the menu to get your component. I really like the way they do this. Right? And if you select any of these components, you can see the component down below. Okay. Any questions so far? Straightforward, right?
Is everyone at the same place? Is there anyone that is not there, that is still having issues with the files, or are we just saying everyone else with the files? Have it open? Good? Good? Good?
All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create an empty page, and I will then create an artboard, and then we can start talking about the other objects. All right, so the way to create a new page, you click on the plus sign here, and it shows white because if you don't have an artboard, this is an infinite canvas. Okay? So you can start drawing anything here. I press R. Right. So you can draw anything. Now, if you hit A, and that's usually how I do. If you hit A, you have a gamma of canvas size that you can leverage. I recommend you using the canvas size for your own phone, because if you're designing a mobile app, for instance, you can design and see at the same time. See if this works with scale. So this is, one of the things when I start showing you some advanced features or techniques, you see that Vision Studio is not fully baked yet. It's getting there, and it's missing a bunch of stuff. I have a slide just to show what they haven't developed yet.
Have you shared that with them?
What's that?
Have you shared that with them yet?
Yeah, it's there somewhere. If you go on introduction and do command 1, so this red artboard here, it's a slide just what's missing in Studio yet. So I took the time to go and compare the features that they didn't have in Sketch. All right, so page 1, right? So if you hit A, you're going to see a bunch of artboard, and you just select iPhone 8. And then you have, so the other thing is that to see over here that you have a home icon here. It means that when you preview the prototype, this is the artboard that's going to be shown first, right? I'm going to show you some prototyping now. This is a concept that was created by Daniel Corpe, yes. He made this file available, and so this is just a simple example on how you can create very cool interactionism. So you can see how the artboard here has a home icon. If you click on the preview button here, so you see a preview of your prototype. And the interactions go by, like you tap over here, and you go into the article, and then you can scroll down.
That animation is all created through Invision?
What's that?
All that animation is created, like all the transition is actually created.
This, when you create, you can share in Invision, yes. And here's another trick that he did, which was pretty cool. Like you can change dark mode, right? And you can go back and go back. Okay? So this is how smooth the prototyping is. You can get a lot of good feedback from end users just by putting something quick like this. Alright? Alright, so I'm going to get out of the preview. This is just to tease you a little bit, and we're going to be building something like this together. Time check. 10 to 8. Alright, so showed you how to create an artboard, and I'm going to just go back to the introduction page. And then we're going to start taking a look at how to create buttons, how to create, I knew you were going to look at me. How to create buttons, how to group, how to create components as well. Right? So this will be under the layer types. And this is, like I mentioned before, this is a rectangle shape with a border radius 100. This is a text layer. On a group, you have the text and the shape inside the group. Okay. So there are a couple of things that you. I'll do the container and then I'll explain the difference. Right? So the way to group things, I'm change this color here to white. You can bring over here. You can select two objects by clicking Shift and select each one of them. And from here you can center them. And then Command G is how you group things, just like in Sketch. Right? So now this is a group. Right? This is my button. Okay?
Is there a shortcut to rename?
To rename? Yes, Command R.
Just like Sketch.
Just like Sketch. Right? This is my bad habit. Every time I create something, Command R. It's a good habit to have. So here's the group. Right, so one thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to resize this. Interesting enough, the text is staying on the center. Right? But you can see that this one is not as consistent. So the reason why that's being centered is it's because I have the text layer is fixed, right? So if I do auto and I push this to the left, and you can see how now it's not as centered. So there are techniques that I use, and this is just full disclosure. This tool here helps you center elements within a container. It's buggy at this point. So you see how it's kind of hard to get the things set up. But this is mostly to show you that you have a group, and you can, when you group, you can create something that's responsive. Let's put it that way. On a container is just like a group, but you can actually you don't need an extra object. It's like having a div. If you do web development, it's just like having a div. So you can see over here when I expand this container, and I'll compare to my group over here. Right? My group has a text and a shape. And my container here has an icon placeholder and a text. It does not have a shape. The reason being is that on a container, you can actually call this container anything you want. Right? So just change add the field to the actual container, the parent object of those two children. Okay?
What's the shortcut?
Good question. So whenever you group something, so let's take this one that I just grouped, right? See over there? It's a group. If you click on the button container, so now it's a container. You can see how the icon here changed to the cornered square. Now here's the cool thing, right? This is the container, and I'm going to delete my shape from that container. Okay? This is still a container. I'm going to show a shortcut on how to copy style from one object and paste just the style onto another object. So I'm going to this shape over here, right? The way to select the shape inside an object inside the group, you press Command and hold, and you click on the actual object. Okay? So you can see how this object here has a field and a border. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to press Alt Option and Command at the same time, and do Option Command C. Okay? And then I'm going to my container here, and I'm going to do Option Command V. So see how I pasted the style of this object onto this container. Okay? It's a neat technique. I haven't seen that on the sketch. The sketch doesn't have containers, by the way. But it doesn't mean that you cannot do it by putting a shape behind and do all that.
When to use containers, when to use groups?
I'm sorry?
When to use containers, when to use groups?
I haven't figured that one out. So, if you think about, I like the container approach because that's pretty much how developers implement these components, right? So they will never put an object. Let's just say this object here. Yeah, they won't put this object in a component. They will actually create a container and style the container as that object.
Okay.
So it's more. I see that they're building containers just to alleviate us from creating shapes to imitate background colors.
Okay.
Right? Alright, so the same way here, I have this container and I change the background. Just use that technique, Option Command C, and I can just go back to, where's my other container here, and do Alt Command V. Alright, so that's container. And one good thing about container, you can actually mimic the box model of any web component, right? So I created the container. My container is like, it should be 300 by 100. And around my container, I put these yellow boxes as a pattern, right? And so I think they are 16 pixels. And that will give me the ability to always have some padding around my button. Right? And you can resize, and this should stay, stay like that. Okay? That's another reason why containers are better than using groups. Right? Now, component. So you can see my container here and my component. So the main difference here is that I have nested components. So I have a component for this icon and I have a component for the padding. Right? One good thing about Invision Studio is that you can actually hide any components that you're not using. So this is something I think that's very recently Sketch came in the last version. All right. The other thing is you can let's create a component. All right. So you can see how I already created this component. If you are not familiar with components, I'll show you the thing. So let's create a duplicate of this component here. And this is my submit and delete. Okay, so obviously the labels are wrapping because I need to resize it. Aha. What do you think is happening here?
Resizing.
My component has a fixed width, right? So there are two ways to edit the master component. You can double click on the component, or you can click on the button over here to go to the master. Let's debug this button. All right, so here's my component, and okay, so I can see that the constraints for this shape here, it's all over, right? So it's constraining top to bottom, left and right. This should work though. Oh, Okay, so now we are seeing something different here, right? So now the shape is extended, right? Just because I changed from containers group. So now let's debug the text.
When you edit the text on a component, you know how Sketch usually if you copy paste, like if you're using that same component several times, you can change the text on this, like override it. You know how in a Sketch when you're actually using a component in a sim or a sim, you have to change the text. Sorry, you actually override.
That's a good question. That's a good question. So what Invision decided to do, they decided to go with the same approach that Figma is doing. You just double click and you change you change your overrides around the symbol instead of having an overrides panel over here. All right, so let me fix this. Let's fix together. So I'm just gonna duplicate this, and I want to make sure that this is submitted. All right. I'm going to edit the master, and oops, my text over here should be auto. See how it's fixed. All right. So now let's see if. So now I fixed this issue here. So now let me align the constraints here. So this is middle left. Left and right. I don't need this guy here. So I'm trying to. So there's something that first thing that I'm seeing here is this is not centered. Hey, welcome to my life. Yeah, you think that's you know, my fiance says, came up to me the other day, said, man, that workshop that you built a button, I never realized that was so hard to build a button. So I probably won't spend time doing this, but this is centering this here. This is also, see how it's aligned to the top, needs to go top and bottom. Right. Alright, so it's all screwed up now. So I can do this in Sketch much quicker. It's debugging a tool that's not ready, so that's not a good thing, right? There you go. Okay. I just remember that you can actually change the override, so I can center this into the component here. Now, I'm not sure if you can see this here, and I have an icon using Font Awesome, and if you are not familiar with Font Awesome, it's just a font. I'll show you the. So Font Awesome allows you, it's a web font, and allows you to install this web font on your desktop, and you have access to 5,000 plus well-designed icons. And they have different styles. They have solid, regular, and light. So you can see the three styles here. This is light, this is regular, this is solid. And I won't show you how to install. I'm just gonna, you can go download, pay for the pro version. It's definitely worth it. You can use in as many projects you want, and it works this way. If you guys have been to my sketch meetup, you see this technique. So you go into the add. I'm gonna add a master, and you can see how I have the plus word spelled out, right? So what I'm going to do now is, you can see how this component icon, it's a nested component inside this button. I'm just going to add that icon. And now you can change the font type. So right now I have Montserrat. I'm going to change that to Font Awesome. Font Awesome 5 Pro. This will only happen if you have the Pro version. So you can see how that changed to an icon. Right? And I probably want this to be in the middle and in the center. And I can just align this. And I can probably increase this by 2. Okay? So that will be my default icon. And now I'm going to show you how to change that icon. Which, by the way, I haven't done this in Studio, so I'll delete this. Alright. So if I want to change this to, let's say, search, I just type in search. Now I have the search icon now. Okay? So that's pretty much how the developer will build an icon component. They have CSS files. They just change the I guess the parameter, the value of that class. And so if I want to do home, right, that's home. If I want to do trash, let's trash that. Okay, let's delete. And I'm just gonna duplicate this, and I'm gonna change this to, let's say, submit we check. Right. So now I have 2 instances of a component. If I change anything on my master component, I should be able to change it. So for instance, if I want to change the color of the icon to black, by the way, this is my toggle library. That I can see all my components. I can go straight to my icon and change this guy to black. Okay, so now I'll change the color for both icons. Okay? So that is the basics on components. Any questions on this? I can't spend like all day explaining components. Any questions on this?
Yeah, I have a quick question about how you got 2 separate.
Who's asking?
Hi.
Oh, hi.
I'm Kayla. I wonder how you got 2 different icons for the same component, for the same sort of symbol.
Exactly. What's the value of having a single?
Yeah, so I see the value, but like, if they're the same symbol, how did you get 2 separate icons? Because of the nested symbol, like they're both the same sort of score.
Exactly. So because it's nested, right? That's how we can talk a little bit about design systems, but think about creating object-oriented, like modules for designs. So you've been to the sketch session, right? So the model is never repeat yourself, right? Don't repeat yourself, right? That's the dry mode, DIY. Don't repeat yourself. So why do I want to keep creating a new icon for each time I need an icon? Right? Why do I want to use a group and just copy and paste? So if the client comes in tomorrow and say, hey, my branding color changed, my primary branding color changed from, you know, red to green. Now I have to go into each button and change the. With this model, you can just go to a single place and change the entire interface. Okay. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, I have the same question as her, but I don't understand how you got. How did you get the trash can and the check mark using the same master component?
Sorry.
How did you get the trash can and the check mark using the same master?
Sure. Let's do that again. All right, so you can see how I have two components here, all right? They have the same master, all right? So if I
Can you
actually...
repeat the question so that everyone... Can you repeat the question so everyone knows?
Sure, the question is, how did I get... What was your question?
How do you get the check mark and the trash can
Yeah.
in the same?
Master.
In the same component, right? What I'm gonna explain to him, to you guys, is that this is in itself a component, right? So you see a component icon, and inside the component button. So I have one single source of truth for these two icons inside this button. Okay? Now, I could create a new component called input. So let me just increase this to 2500. Right? So we're going to create a new component called input. And I'm going to answer your question by doing this. So let's just say I have my input, and my input will be white. Okay? And I will add, rename this, so input BG. My input will also have some water. My input will also have some water. Right? And I'll do some shadows here just so it looks like the input. Okay? Just like in the flash base. So now I want to put a placeholder. So what I want to do is I want to do search icon and search placeholder here. So I'm going to insert my icon here. Drag over here. So that's my icon, and I can just rename this search. So now I have a search line. Okay. I have not created the input component yet. I just have a rectangle, and I know that I'm going to use an icon, which I already created a component. I don't need to create a new one. I just leverage that one. And now I'm going to use the text.
That is definitely better than sketch, because if you have something nested, a symbol, for you to change the icon, you have to create it inside of the symbols and then create the link by with the slashes to be able to change the icon of the search, that search icon. So
Yeah.
it's definitely faster doing it in Invision rather than sketch if you're actually.
So that's the difference, right? So the way to override anything on Invision is by clicking and changing. On Sketch, although it's more intuitive, but you can also get confused if you have a bunch of nested symbols. They have a bunch of overrides here, right? So this is my input, and I'm just going to group this. I'm going to rename this components space slash space input, and I'm going to create a component just by clicking on the bolt icon here. Right? me center this. And this is also center. And that's it. So I have my component. So each time I need new input, I can say drag one here, and this now will be a calendar. There you go.
That's cool.
You can use, oh, check it out. It's actually, yeah, it works. All right, cool. So now I'm going to change my icon here. I don't like this. For some reason, this. Where is it? So I want to change this, make a light version. Okay. So you can see how everything now has the light version of the icon.
Oh yeah.
Right? This is really powerful. So this is what we call like atomic level tokens. Right? So you create very small and then you start using that over and over and over and over. So it's really powerful. Okay? Mr. Developer, is that the way you build things on the front end?
I don't really work with design, so but I guess. But my question is, what if you want to change just two icons? Let's say only two icons would change the color. That's the first question.
Sure. Can I do it in Sketch? So there's a technique. Okay, I'll show you a technique. I'm not sure if it's going to work here because this is not fully baked.
What's this question?
The question was, can you override the color of the icon?
Like, so you have four of them, and they're all like, if you're gonna change the color, it's gonna change all four of them, right?
Right.
What if you want to change only two of them?
You can do this by, let's see.
No, you can't do that because it's one master component.
The attachment of the component.
I can do it. I'm just trying to figure out what's the best way to do. So let me just go over here first. And the way I'm going to do this is take this shape here.
So think of something like all you have to do here is just basically type something.
Let me catch. Then I'll tell you.
So that's the same thing. But, I mean, obviously depending on the font, but we're using. Oh, yeah. You can put a different one in. But it's cool because it's a different way of basically setting. It's still the same simple component, but you just override it right on it. And that's how you know that it's the nesting of it.
Look, I'm cheating, but I'll show you that that works, right? So now, if I want this to be gray, it's gray. If I want this to be green, this is green. Right? And I can go back to my components. Actually, I'm going to go back and change it to gray again. I like the gray as the default. So, is that what you asked?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm cheating, okay? Because I have a white background, and that's easy to transpose the color shape that I can change the fill.
Okay.
So how would you do that on web?
That's a good question. They probably would have the different classes.
Right, so I can tell you, like, they would use a field property on the SVG icon, something like that, right? Or they can just change the prop color. But this will only work because I have a white background. If you try to do this on a color background, it won't work. Okay? So there are different techniques that I could use to achieve the same result. Okay? Any other questions?
Can you elaborate a little on that? Is it just because of the way that you're doing the overlay? It's not a mask, right?
No, it's a blending mode.
Yeah.
Right? So I
Does everybody understand the difference between a mask and a blending mode when it comes to this? And why it works on white and not on black?
No, I don't.
Okay.
It's coming. It's coming. I'm going to show you that. All right. So we've reviewed the overall UI. We'll review the layer types. We'll review how to change the properties for each layer type. So now we're going to talk about some Boolean operations. This will be straightforward. So let's just say I have two objects here, right? When you select more than one object, the tools up on top will activate. So union here, right? Union selection will unite both shapes. This is good if you have to design icons or create some, complex shapes. This is definitely helpful. I don't see this working on a web environment, so perhaps doing like a path merge in SVGs. But this is how you actually create an SVG. Subtraction. Right. You can subtract. So the top object will punch the bottom object. So you can see the combined one. If I change the labels, so I just bring this up, I punch the right side. If I bring this down, the left side will be punched. Okay? Intersection, same way. Okay? That's how you create a football. American football. Differentiation, I don't have an idea with it. So there it is. Alright? So this is very quick. Any questions on this? Okay, so now we're going to get into the last part before we start building the prototype. We're going to talk about fills, colors, blending modes, and all that stuff. All right. Handy, very handy actually, shortcut is Control-C. So what Control-C does, it gives you the ability to just get the eyedropper and pick any color. So let me just draw a rectangle here, and I'm going to change the filter here to red. All right. So now I'm going to select this rectangle. This square here on the right. I'm going to do Control-C, and it's going to show me the eyedropper, so I can pick the color from anywhere. So what's doing over here is it's saving you at least 3 clicks, right? So that's why this is, to me, it's another keystroke that I use all day long. So I'm going to Command-Z to undo, and I'm going to show you how this would have to be. So you click on the color palette field, and then you have to go for the eyedropper, and then you click. Right? So there's 3 steps. Just by doing the Control-C, you're right there. Okay? On the right of the color panel, pop over. Yes. So you have this 4 tabs over here. So you can So now you will probably understand why I have this image here. Because I want to have copy this image. So this is a bitmap, right? I'm just doing a Command C. And this is one nifty way that Invision Studio is providing. So I have my square here, and just so this is my square. I'm going to extend this right here. And what I want to do is I want to go to fill, and I want to fill this shape with that image that I have on my clipboard. All I have to do is I can drag one image here, or I can simply paste, Command V. Right? So this also works for symbols as well. So if you have a symbol with an avatar, and each time you want to have another avatar, you just grab another face and you paste it.
This is what you would have.
One symbol. One.
And then you do the Control V.
Let me show you the gradient, because I didn't get to show you in detail. So the gradient here, you have the first stopper and you have the second stopper. You can also add as many stoppers you want over here. Okay? And you can, each stopper, you can pick a different color. Alright? So I'm just zoom into this, just so you can see. So my left stopper over here, I'll make the, so there you go, I have a bunch of gradients here. Here's to see if I can copy style. There you go. So I can copy this style, and your developer will hate you for picking this. So if I paste this now, let's see. Oh, this is copy style, just the style of the object. So they don't have copy or copy this. Let me copy this and show you on Sketch how that would be done. So I have my gradient here. And this is where they're missing too. So copy CSS attributes. And then you go here and you paste same thing today. Oh, you know why? Then when I paste it from Invision, it takes it as bitmap, right? So in Sketch, that's the same way. You do different stoppers. You change the fill to gradient. You can pick the different colors. So now you can copy this by
Thank you.
Thank you. So now I can paste my. There you go. So this is what the developer will ask you if you come up with a logo that has a bunch of gradient.
Can you show it bigger, please?
What's that?
Can you show it bigger? That.
This?
Yes.
Sure.
But that's the SVG.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it's carrying the shape with it, right? All right, but that's in Sketch, and that's how Studio will eventually provide some code exploit.
So now, sorry, for now they don't have that option. Like, for now they don't have that option. So let's say if you create some design with special animation, is there something comes with the code, or it's
no. So you can see that. Let's go over the like field stuff. That's pretty simple. Let's go over all the stuff that they don't have. Right? So if you an interface designer, you rely a lot on styles, right? They don't have any styles here, like Sketch does, right? So you can have shared styles. The other thing that they don't have yet is text styles, right? So there's no single source of truth for a particular style that you create. You cannot convert text to paths, right? So in this case over here, that I'm using Font Awesome, I can do search, right? Then I can simply right click here and convert to
outlines.
Path, right?
Yep.
Outlines. So text on path. Not that I would do this often on Sketch, but for instance, have logos. You can create something like this, right? The IXDA logo we created using text on path.
While you're on that, how is the actual implementation from, let's say, a path or an SVG from Illustrator, which is where I do most of the icons, into Invision Studio? I guess the copying and pasting from a vector, software to Invision. Usually with Sketch, it's pretty straightforward.
That's the thing. You can import a Sketch file into Invision Studio, but you cannot do the other way around.
Got it. Okay.
And so you just saw that I had a simple rectangle shape with some gradient, and it pasted as a bitmap. Right. So bottom line, I've been using this for over a year, and in Studio, and just now we're starting to present this to the community, but it's not ready yet. I don't recommend using this. I don't recommend using this. So there's like some shadows, right? The Gaussian shadows, they don't have that. Background blur, which is a thing that people use on web development, they also don't have that. What else? So that's the overall do's and don't do on Invision Studio. Let's show some of the prototypes. So this is where Invision Studio shines, right? It's almost as if they started, let's do a kick-ass prototyping tool, and then we work backwards to catch up with Sketch, and then we'll come to work. All right, so let's do one thing. What I want to do, you guys have any questions how this is done? I'm going to show you some of the interactions. So for that, I'll do it over here. I have two artboards. I just did Command D to duplicate. And I'll create an artboard that's what's the background. And I'll make this one blue. Okay? And I'll create a simple navigation here. And my button. Actually, I can use the button in my library. So this is chevron, right?
You see that only works when you have the font awesome Pro, right?
I'm sorry?
You mentioned that only works when you have
The font awesome Pro.
I have the free version and it works, but only in solid, not in light or.
Oh, is that right? That's good to know. Someone asked me and they couldn't figure out that I was using light.
Yeah, if you choose the font awesome font, but then you have to choose solid because it's the only solid. It's the only one they have.
Okay, there you go, Sam. Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right, so I have this, and I'm just gonna bring this guy over here.
So this is cool. You can get the components, and then only this the component library. Oh. So that's when you can draw like a component icon. Just drag it into it. There we go. Well, we have a different font.
Yeah.
We got some funky web-thing font.
Alright, so
Well, maybe what he said is that you may be able to do it with the light one. Maybe that's why.
when I tap on this icon, I'm gonna move over here, and what I'm seeing is this button should move from here to here, and make sure that they have the same name.
Oh, make sure you have the same name on it. So you want to just copy the same one here?
Oh, I was trying to copy, but
It's the thing. Command.
He's a genius.
That's what it's called.
But did you memorize it?
Yes, he memorized.
Yeah, trust me,
oh,
yeah, I
this is
memorized.
UNC
Yeah. So look, if you don't know, you can go here. So you can probably guess that I've designed hundreds of chevrons in my life. Right? So there's also short. Yeah. There's also arrow.
So what you're saying is that you speak font awesome. That's what you're saying.
I have fun awesome on my face because I'm doing this all day long. Alright, so let's see. I have my button. So basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to take just a simple interaction, click from here to here. So the way I do is I select that button and I click on the lightning bolt or hit C and select the next part. So what you want to do is I can just select the preset and be instant. Alright, let's start with that and then we can start doing some micro instructions. And this will be on the click.
Click
And then I'm going to select the back button, which will be the same. Select, hit C, and let's go back here. Okay, let's do a preview. Okay. Very. Oh, I closed the whole thing.
I think also you can do this.
So, I personally don't like that, but that's just an instant. And let's go and select.
There's like an animation. Oh, here it is.
I have a question, Marcelo.
Sure.
Do you have rulers like Sketch
And then you can do
in
preset.
Invision Studio?
Yes.
That's right.
Like grids?
Yeah.
But the ones that are outside and you can put lines.
Yeah, the baseline.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had a page just for that.
Right.
Grids.
Gotcha.
I just wanted to. Okay. So you see here, I have like a responsive kind of a layout here. And when you select the artwork, you
I think that's the
can
difference
set
between all these tools. Like what I would probably do is I'll probably do all my designs in Sketch
So in this
and
case
then
over
import
here,
it into here
I created
to do all the animations because I have a much better animation
for
tool.
each one of them. Obviously, we use 8 columns and 12 columns, right? So for the tablet, you can change the columns to 8. Right? So now it's, you have 8 columns there. Now what you're asking is the rows, right? So you can also do rows. Or you can set the grid. One thing that I have not figured out is how to change the color of this thing. Oh, there you go. Okay. And you can increase the grid. Okay.
That's the one that there's
Is that what you were asking?
I was asking for the ones in Sketch that are the red ones, like this one. Do you remember these?
Oh, the guidelines.
The guidelines, yes.
I'll try comment. Let's do view.
I think in Sketch is Control R, but I was trying to do it in.
That's a very good question. No, they don't have it.
Like, same thing, layout, there's no shortcut, but under layout, show smart guides.
Did you find it?
Yeah. Under layout, show smart guides, just like in Sketch, there's not a shortcut for it.
Oh, smart guide. Okay, but no ruler, right?
I don't see it.
Okay. Yeah. So add that to the list. So like essential tools, they don't have like text styles, shape styles, they don't have that.
But it's so weird though because they're so great at the whole library. They have craft as a plugin, but then they don't have their own styles.
They don't have craft over here, so there's so many things that we need to do. I'm sure.
You can add craft to the list.
Yeah. So this is where you see. You can still design in Sketch and prototype with the studio, right? So you can also prototype with Principle. You can prototype with other more mature tools out there. You know, I wanted to do this to show the community that this is almost that, and they do some really good stuff. I'll show you what they're planning to do for plugins, which is really neat. They're going to create an app store just for plugins, and those plugins will be tested by them, and they will be published over here, right? So I see this as a positive step because there are a bunch of plugins out there for Sketch that they just crash the application. They don't get updated each time Sketch has a new release.
I'll wait till then.
But by the way, the basic craft plugin is over here, so you can still push the prototypes. So you can still push the prototype to the Invision. Right? So I put a new prototype and just
Bless.
Alright, so I was going to change this to motion, and also I'm going to change this to motion. What I did is I selected the object that has the interaction, and over here you have the transition panel on the interactions that you can change. So let me just do a preview now. Right? Very simple.
Is there any easing on that?
Yeah, does that work?
No easing?
Yes. So let's talk about that. Just in time, right? Just in time.
Not the same size as the artboard.
Alright, so I'm going to show I can do it easy. You can add the timeline
Really close to it.
and when you click on this button, you see the curve. The other thing that you see, you can actually see the transition, just like in Flash, right?
Taking me back. So basically you go
You know what I'm gonna do?
motion,
See how
edit timeline.
the text is changing? Alright, so the way to change this is just by this one. So you can change the easy, so what that means is the speed of this line will accelerate.
So you know what this is, right?
And then
So
slow
this is
down.
basically your easing. If you're going to use like any like After Effects or Flash, this is basically the Bezier. This is basically how you have to set up if it starts quick or it's low, or if it starts slow and then it's quick. Right. So that's what that's for. And so here you'll see it, right? You can test it.
So you can see how.
Right. So if I was to go in here and say, let me
Maybe too
do.
fast and then slow down a little bit. So you see how the text is changing because I changed the chevron left to right? So I'm just going to make the same chevron.
It goes slow and fast.
Right.
Now
It's
we
kind of
have
funky. Or you can do something crazy. You'll see this one right here. It's super funky. So you typically want to have.
And what I want to do here, I want to rotate this guy. Okay. So now if I do my preview. Oh, it's going too fast.
To catch it. That's cool.
So the duration here I can make 1 second.
Right, so once you're
And
done with
the
this,
duration here can also change to 1 second. Just make it slower.
cancel that.
That's what we're doing.
Done. Then you go back to your duration down here, and you can
See
figure
how
out
that
how long you
curve is
want.
going too fast? It's still 1 second, but it's accelerating and
Those things.
so I'll change this one. This is good.
Hey, Marcelo, quick question. Does the preview have to do with the actual size of your screen? Because we're getting some like funky preview screens.
Yeah.
You hearing that too?
The preview.
Yeah, I don't know if this has to do with the actual size of it, but look. So it's a iPhone XR, right? But when you go here to preview, this like sometimes it cuts off, you see? And it's supposed to be the same size. You seen that before? See how it goes like?
Oh, that's interesting.
But it's supposed to be like that. It's on the same.
In the margin, right?
Yeah.
The right margin.
It's basically what we're getting here. Look.
Yeah, you.
Do you think the rectangle is it the artboard is the
It's the
color?
same. No, the same size. Look, I basically duplicated the same artboard, so same dimensions,
Okay.
right? 1414, 896, both of them.
Okay, let's go back to the preview. I think I know where it is. If you go to the settings, so this is the X max, and you do the X down. So that needs to be the same auto to do auto.
Auto?
There you go.
Okay, perfect. That's what it was. If you go to the preview,
So I'll show you what.
and then you go to the settings. You see the settings? You click auto. See auto from there?
Auto.
Yeah. So you go to settings, click the setting button, and then you click. You see the phone type? You click auto,
Okay.
and that should fix it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Alright, so I'll show you what Joe just asked. Times it. So it's about 10 minutes to end, and just want to do some more complex stuff. Right. So what Joe was saying is, let me just resize this. So for some reason, I'll take this out of the screen. preview is resizing properly. For whatever reason, he had this as something else, right? So if this is different, you know, the button here will show with a different margin. So make sure you set this to auto. So then we will resize accordingly, no matter what size the preview you have. Alright? Okay, question?
Yeah. Is there a way to reuse interactions? Because if you create one interaction to another screen and then you want to go back with the same interaction.
So you can use the same, you can copy the same interaction. So I'm going to show you this with this version. Okay? So what I want to do is I want you to create a page. Let's create a new artwork here. Just copy this. Just gonna copy this. So I still have this as a home page. Take it up with? Okay. So let's do a preview here. So I'm using this home artboard over here, and what I want to do is I want to copy that interaction into the bottom. Okay. So you can see how this is working. Okay. So what I want to do now is I'm just go to, I don't know, Unsplash, and I'll find a copy this one, image, and I'll paste on this guy over here. Okay, so I have my home here. So I'm just going to remove these interactions here. Right, so you can also remove any other okay, so there's nothing going from here to here, right? And just so we follow the same one here, next page. Okay, all right? So if I click on my preview here, so you can see when I click, nothing happens. So what I want to do now is I want to go here and copy interaction. And I'll go here and paste going to head right? So what I have to do now is change to port 6.
Could you also grab the arrow and bring it here?
Do I what?
Could you also have grabbed the arrow and brought it to the hardboard 6?
I'm sorry.
Like you know how it was going to hardboard 2?
Yeah.
Could you have grabbed the arrow and brought it down?
No, that's what I just said. So when you click on the object that has an interaction, so it says over here, navigate to screen. You could probably do it. Let me try.
Can you grab it and bring it?
I don't know. No. No, some tools like Flinto can.
Like in XD, you can grab it and take it.
You can, right? There you go. All right. So now if I do a preview here, there you go. All right.
Can you go over just the copying interactions part?
I'm sorry?
Can you just go over how you copy the interaction?
Sure.
So now we're going over.
So first let me remove the interaction. Okay. And you can just go to this one that already has an interaction. You can right click on the object that has the interaction and copy the interaction.
Got it. Okay.
And then you go to the new one and paste interaction. So the only thing, when that happens, it will retain the destination of the interaction. So that's why I need to change from artboard 2 to artboard 6. Okay?
Can you record the presentation when you play that? You know how with games that you can actually see they kind of like record the play mode? Can you do that there or not? Or you can just play and you can go through but you cannot record it?
Oh, to export?
Yes, to export.
So let me post this on. So let me see if you can export as view. No, I think you can only export to Invision. So when you export to Invision, let's publish this.
I just have a quick question. How do you remove an interaction from an element?
How do I do what?
How do you remove an
I make
interaction?
you all repeat your questions.
So how do you like delete something from, or delete an interaction from?
Okay, you right click on the interaction panel and there's a copy or delete.
Okay.
Alright, so it should be there. Let me just see. This is another good thing. So now I can post this link on Slack and you guys can probably see it.
Well, that's cool.
So you can also navigate. So here's my video one. Okay. Any final questions? I just want to explore and do some IXDA prototyping, not fully baked for you guys to migrate to the interface design. You can do your interface design in Sketch, import the Sketch files into Invision Studio, do your prototyping. This is by far way better than the actual Invision web, right?
So I've used Principal and I've used other tools like Flinto. Where would you rank this versus some of the other ones that are on the market?
So I use Principal, right?
Right.
And I stopped using Principal because they didn't get much updates. Although I love the tool. The other problem with Principal is that they didn't export into something like this that we can share.
Yeah.
So you have to ask the client to download the Principal app.
Right.
Right? Flinto does a much better job. To me, it's one of the most mature prototyping tools out there. Obviously, there are other tools like UX Pen, so it's like 300 prototyping tools. Is the one that you like the most. The one that you should keep in mind is choose a prototyping tool that can retain any changes that you do in Sketch. You can update on your prototyping because it's a pain in the ass. You do all your interface design, then start prototyping, then you need to change something over here, and they don't get updated, right?
Does this one do that? Does Invision Studio, like, let's say I imported a file from, okay, are there any ones that do that?
Principal does it.
Yeah, but Principal is not seamless though. It's like Sketch does now some prototyping, yeah. But so question I have, I'm not sure. So we talked a little bit about Flinto. We talked about Principal, all in terms of prototyping. Have you played around with Framer X? And
no,
how does
I have
that?
Not,
okay.
If you guys want to do.
Has anyone used Framer X, by the way? No. Is anyone using it? Okay.
Framer X next month.
We have a couple of things in the sleep for next month.
So Framer X, they can do a lot. Luis just did a Framer X workshop yesterday. We can invite him to do next month.
We have a couple of things as well. So
what do you think about Adobe XD? That's kind of where.
Adobe XD is a good tool. It's pretty much like this one. So if you, like, again, there isn't a best tool. There is the tool that you adapt faster, right? If you're doing well with Adobe XD, stay with Adobe XD. If you're doing well with Flinto, stay with Flinto. All these has different prices, and it has different values, has different plugins, right? So one of the reasons why I have Adobe XD on my machine. So one of the reasons why I do get deeper in Adobe XD is because of the plugins. So I'm still waiting. I rely a lot on plugins, unfortunately. All right, thanks. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marcelo.